Hey, and welcome to the channel. This is a quick intro or word before the video. First off, my uploading schedule has been very irregular, and just as a quick explanation to that, I work full time, and so if a lot of things appear janky or improvised, for example, even my channel name just recently changed. So a lot of this, is based in and around my free time. So do forgive some sloppiness and on-the-fly changes. Also, like generally kind of an improvised style. And second, before we get into the game, I want to, since this is a very janky pod by a lot of standards, I want to just generally talk about why I selected this game for a clip. And that is because my previous video was a Shalai and Hallar deck tech, and I want to showcase a couple of games where Shalai and Hallar and the way it wins games actually really shines. So game one is a great example of the parasitic nature of this deck, even though we are by no means the fastest deck at any table. That information just as a quick prerequisite to the gameplay. And with that, enjoy the rest of the clip. All right, welcome to a new gameplay video. We have a bit of a spicy one for you today. Let's look at the pod. We have Liberator versus Battlethopter, Shalai and Hallar. My secondary deck, Razia and Zirda. No idea what to expect here. And Ikra, Ishai. So for 2/3 of our bonus decks, I really don't exactly know what they're aiming at doing. I don't know what their win cons are. I'm expecting Liberator to be relatively disruptive towards this pod in seat 1. They'll probably develop a lot of fast mana and artifacts, and whoever gets the first Dockside probably has a pretty big advantage. For Razia, really no clue what to expect here. Probably artifacts, fast mana, maybe involving the combat step in terms of the win con. And Ikra, Ishai just looking to dodge a quick Adnos and then combo with my commander. That's going to be relatively difficult to disrupt for a blue-black deck. So let's look at our opening hand. This is my first 7 and a snap keep basically. We have some mana acceleration, we have some interaction, we have some card advantage, and we have one of our win cons. So plan is just to play birds turn 1, develop a library in turn 2, or interact with Grasp of Fate, and then develop our commander and lead into the Heliod combo. Alright, so let's look at the commanders once more, just because they're so unexpected. Again, Liberator gives artifacts flash, okay, Razia, 7-drop for flying, vigilance, haste. Tap 4, the next 3 damage that would be dealt to target creature you control this turn are dealt to another target creature instead. Okay, whatever that may be. And Ikra, Ishai. Alright, so we see a Jeweled Lotus, 0-drop artifact that regenerates target creature, forget what it's called, into Liberator. Okay, City of Traders, sure, and a Chalice on 1. Stop right here. So this is an interesting choice to play the Chalice on 1. It's understandable in an artifact deck that they don't want to hinder their own acceleration, so they place it on 1. It probably hits more relevant things on 1. But we will see that this play is definitely something that helps me a great deal in this pod. And it also apparently shuts off a lot of the things in Tanner's and BB's opening hands. With the library on turn 2 and my draw on my second turn, I'm actually pretty happy with how this develops because it slows the rest of the table down. Liberator takes a little bit of time to get on the board and develop their own game plan. Alright, we see a pass a turn, we see a plateau, land pass, land, okay, let's pause right there. That's a mana crypt with open white mana, so I'm sort of expecting a flashed Aven Mind Sensor or maybe an Archivist of Ogma. There's not too much reason to play around a wheel here, so I'm not exactly expecting them to just have played this out for no reason. Alright, let's just keep going here. Okay, another crypt. We see an attack here towards the black player and a pass the turn. And there's my second draw. So the Plateau was the land, was my draw on turn 1, and then Destiny Spinner was my draw for the second turn, which is quite nice because it'll allow me to develop the birds if I want to through the Chalice, and it also is another helpful piece against BB in case I do go for a combo before anyone else does. Alright, tap land, bounce land, and pass the turn, I believe. Yep, okay. Rolling for crypt, drawing. Okay, and let's pause the game again here. So at this point, they're playing a tap chalk land, which I'm very skeptical about. So we didn't see a flashed Aven Mind Sensor. Again, there was no fetch or tutor effect, so maybe they're holding it back. I'm not sure that makes too much sense though. I would have expected, in the case of it being an Archivist or an Ogma, unless they really don't have anything else to play here. Them playing the tap chalk signals that they're really encumbered by the Chalice on one. Although if you do this, then nobody's really respecting Oppo anymore, and I think Aven Mind Sensor is out of the question at this point. At least it's relatively unlikely, and generally I think as a recommendation, we're starting with 40 life, so you might as well shock yourself and feint interaction or disruption for 2 life. Generally, especially in the early to mid game, I find that is a pretty low cost to pay for other people maybe not willing to tutor or fetch into an open 3, including black. Okay, so some shenanigans here at end step. Rolling for crypt, drawing. Another attack and pass. Okay. This is one of the lands we had in our opening hand, and then I believe we're playing the Sylvan. Yep, and we're playing the Dork. So developing here, leading into turn 4, just passing there. Again, I'm not willing to fire off a grasp at this point. It's just too little value, and there's not really any indication that someone is going to attempt to win right now. Again, BB is probably the deck that I'm most afraid of in terms of an explosive win attempt, but it appears pretty obvious that they're slowed down by Chalice a lot. Okay, we see a fetch. End step, Sculpting Steel, and then for some reason they signed their own card. Just kidding. It's a Sylvan Library. Okay, rolling for crypt. Sylvan Trigger. Now this is a scry land, so we're scrying in response to the sack trigger. Yep. Attacks, pass, okay, draw. Land off the top. Another card we saw off the opening hand. And Finale for 2. Okay, we get a Dockside. Alright, this is pretty nice at this point, like we mentioned initially. Then I get to Grasp for, actually let me stop right there. I get to Grasp for value, which is quite nice. We grab the Crypt on BB's side, which is literally the card that would enable an Adnos, which is the only thing that I'm really afraid of at this point on BB's behalf. Okay, we got that creature on Tanner's side of the board that probably wasn't going to be relevant for a very long time, and I got Liberator because really I'm not looking to remove Chalice at this point. It's completely irrelevant for me. Okay, and then I developed my commander, so now we're looking to just resolve Heliod on the following turn. Okay. Nothing happened. We just played a land. Okay, there's a Dothy. Yep. And then, yeah, here, so we just saw a CMC1 spell got countered by Derek, who missed that interaction and develops a piece of equipment that will draw cards once their commander's back on the field. Okay, and yeah, we just proceed to move to our turn and resolve the Heliod. Move to combat. In response to damage, we're activating Heliod's ability, targeting Shalai and Hallar, which on combat damage will have lifelink. Heliod will put a counter on our commander, and then that'll trigger Shalai. It'll ping a damage and keep triggering itself for the win, etc., etc. Okay, so quick recap here. We had a really nice opening hand. It was quite generically good, and we actually managed to find one of our many tutors in the deck to search up a dockside after Urza had developed quite a few artifacts. We got a decent value turn before our combo turn, and most of the interaction, if there was any, but I would assume there was shut off by Chalice. And also the two other players going third and fourth weren't able to develop their own game plans. I think especially Ikra Ishai was pretty crippled by the Chalice on one, where for us it was actually quite helpful. All right, and that's all for today. Actually, there's a game 2 coming up, but I will post that separately. See you later.